Blog Talk Radio. Lift off on another Tarot Today radio episode here on the Psychic Talk Network. We are the show that brings you the world of tarot, interesting guests and topics, and of course, free tarot mini readings for our live call-in audience. I'm your host, Dax Carlisle from the Tarot Guild, the international organization for tarot enthusiasts, students, and professionals since 2004. I'm a professional tarot advisor and numerologist, and let me introduce you to the other host of Tarot Today Radio, my fabulous co-host, Mary Brown. Mary is also a tarot advisor, certified tarot master, and crystal Reiki master, a producer for the Psychic Talk Radio Network, and vice president, director of communications for the Tarot Guild. Hello, Mary. How are you doing today?
Hi, Dax. I'm doing pretty good. Hello, everybody. Happy Psychic Saturday.
It's another Psychic Saturday episode. We've got open lines, and we're going to be taking phone calls later on in the show. We have a guest co-host today and a great topic as well.
Yes. It's going to be a lot of fun. I see Sharona and you in the chat room.
Hi,
I have
Sharona.
a feeling it's going to be a great show.
Good vibes about this one for sure. And we are a live call-in show, so give us a ring at 714-816-4628. Secure your spot now for when we start taking calls later on. We take the calls in the order that they come in. So as soon as you dial in, press 1 on your dial pad if you want to speak with us. If you just want to listen, you can do that. But when you dial in, press 1 if you want to speak with us. And it'll put you in the queue. In the order that you called in, that's how we're going to take the call. So get in the queue now, 714-816-4628. You can also join us on our chat post. Like Mary just mentioned, we have a chat room installed on the show page for each episode. And you can just go to chat.psychictalk.net. It'll take you right over to that show page. Scroll down, you'll see the player. You can listen to the show. Below the player, the chat room will load. Give it a couple seconds to load there, and you can chat with us live there, talk about the topic, talk about the show. You can even ask for a mini reading right from the chat room. Once again, that's chat.psychictalk.net. Of course, it's much more fun, right, Mary, to chat with everybody live. So give us a ring if you can, 714-816-4628. Today's show is sponsored by the Tarot Guild. As I mentioned, we've been around since 2004. We're in our 17th year. In fact, we're coming up on our 17th anniversary. We're going to be entering our 18th year. God, I feel old. You can stop by and visit us. Yeah. Our new website, thetarotguild.com, it's been running for a couple years now. The one we've had for like the last decade, the servers finally crashed, so we said, hey, let's build a really whiz-bang website. This is a full-featured social media, social networking website. It's like Facebook for tarot, except it's tarot all the time. So, none of the negative stuff there, folks. So come over and join us. You can join the website for free and take advantage of all the features there. You get your own page and profile. You're able to do all those wonderful social media things like friending and private messaging. We have a chat room. We have forums and groups. Go check it out at thetarotguild.com. And come over and join our Facebook group if you haven't already. We have 6,700 members plus on the Facebook Tarot Guild. And we also have our Psychic Talk Radio group as well. Psychic Talk Radio, just search for them on Facebook. You're going to find a page and a group for both. So when you search Psychic Talk Radio and search Tarot Guild, they're going to pop up. And like the pages, join the groups. So every day, Mary, you post a card of the day on the Psychic Talk group.
Yes, well, but every day and sometimes every week, you know. But I did post a card today in there, and it comes from Sonia Choquette's The Fool's Wisdom Oracle cards, which I love this deck. She did just a wonderful job with this deck. The artwork is fun with Silas Tobal doing the art. And today's card is card number 25, and it's the Respect Fool. Okay, so each card is a different fool, you know, based on the Fool from the tarot deck. And this one is really great because today's card is calling it's calling our attention to, you know, holding our own spirit in highest esteem. So when we talk about respect, it's like don't do things or act in such a way or even say things or think things that aren't worthy of you. You know, that have respect for yourself. Don't respect yourself. Don't disrespect others. Don't disrespect yourself either. That's the main message of it. And it's saying, like, look, you know, we've got to kind of take a look at, you know, are there areas where we're being too negative and making snap judgments and we're being impatient and that, you know, we're getting too frustrated, and is that really worthy of us? Is that fair? Are we being fair to ourselves, or are we being fair to others? So that is the card of the day, the Respectful, and that's what it's asking us to take a look at. What do our numbers look like today?
You can always check my daily post. Of course, I call them my daily posts, my daily readings. It's not always daily because, you know, life happens. There's errands you have to do. There's oil changes. There's trips to get your MRI, what have you. So I try to do one every day, but sometimes I don't make it. But I've been doing pretty good the last couple of weeks. It's been practically every day here. And you can always find these posts under articles on the Tarot Guild website. So you just go to thetarotguild.com, click on articles. You can also type in your browser thetarotguild.com/articles. That'll take you right over there. Look for the one that the image, it looks like a giant eye for today. You know, we're in the midst of this 5 energy. The entire date, 9/18/2021, adds up to 23. 2 + 3 is 5. That's that energy of change, high energy, adventure. And then we have the Knight of Swords coming in, you know, so ready to rush in and get her done, you know. The Knight of Swords is impetuous, courageous, clever, the archetypal, you know, warrior who thrives on difficult situations. He's also a communicator with psychic vision, skillful, forthright, assertive, fearless. So we want to rush in today, but the message, the whole message today is to really take a breath and do some more planning before you actually rush in, because we have the 9 energy coming from the day. That's the 18th. 1 + 8 is 9, which represents completion and the culmination of wisdom and experience. And we have the 9 of Wands with the same energy there. So you have the determination. You know exactly what you want. You're focused on your goals. But the 9 of Wands also says, get your ducks in a row first, or your wands in a row first. So Benjamin Franklin said, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. And so, okay, it's boring to make plans, especially with the energies at play today. But, you know, be wise and take the time now. You're going to, you know, save yourself from future problems and even failure if you take the time to plan and not rush in with the Knight of Swords. So that's the message from today's reading and numerology.
Wow.
So, without any further ado, we're talking about how can we, as tarot readers, support the massive shift in the world these days. And we have a special guest co-host coming on here. She is a certified tarot master, Tarot Guild board member, a teacher, and author, Corbie Mitleid. Let's bring her on right now. Corbie.
Hey.
How you doing, Corb?
Good.
Hey, Corbie.
Good to see you here. Hey, Mary.
Welcome back to the airwaves.
I know.
Yes.
I missed it. So there's this world we're dealing with these days. And it's like, who pushed the crazy button?
Right.
And I'm really lucky. I'm working with a brilliant 14-year-old, Elder and apprentice, and she is going to be just the most incandescent reader in her 20s that we have ever seen. Just, it's a privilege to work with her. And she and I were talking about purpose of learning to read, what is she supposed to do with it, and we started talking about the world today. And we realized people my age, I mean, I'll admit it, I'm 66, I'm in the boomer class. We had a sweet spot from 1946 to like 1980. When we grew up, we did not believe the world was going to go to hell in a handbasket. America felt relatively safe, and we knew we could get a job. All of that is a slippery slope now. So the question is, as readers, how can we both support our own growth and support the clients who come to us? And I pulled 3 cards from the Osho Zen deck, which is a fascinating piece of work. A friend of mine used it for years, and I finally got it. It's compromise, aloneness, which is analogous to the hermit, and existence, which is like the magician, the alchemist. So the way I read it is compromise. How much do we compromise with what we're willing to say, where we're willing to stick our necks out, and how much we're willing to help a client? We need to look at that, because the alone card says you are not alone in your existence. It's way past the time when you can simply tell them, does Bruce love him and what's the lottery numbers, and let it go. We're no longer fortune tellers, no matter what people think or what they say to us. And the last card, the way Osho calls it, is existence. And he says very specifically, you are not accidental. Existence needs you. Without you, something will be missing in existence and nobody can replace it. And so, yeah, I don't care where you are on your tarot journey. You're not just another card flipper. You have been attracted to the cards and they to you because you have a specific job to do in moving forward the world and humanity on the crazy train to bring back some balance, some self-awareness, and some healing. So don't let anyone ever tell you that, oh, you're not important, you're not necessary, there are so many readers in the world. We need you, and we need your heart as well as your head. End of soapbox.
And scene. No, that is. You just said so much that it's a lot to unpack there. And I think I'm just kind of blown away with the idea of a 14-year-old really, starting out on this journey. That is to me really exciting, and for her to be looking already beyond herself. Beyond like what does this just do for me?
Years. And the thing that I loved about it is, we started talking. I'd go to her family's cafe for breakfast on Saturdays, and she'd start asking me questions, and then maybe I'd bring my cards. But she wanted to learn. She asked the deeper questions. It wasn't play to her. She knew there was magic in the cards, and she wanted to be part of it. And when you've got a student like that, you know that you've got someone special who understands the potential of what they can do. That's why I'm so fortunate. But for everybody out there, when you start reading tarot, why do you?
Why do you? And, that's interesting because usually we don't ask why. When I think of over the years, it seems like everybody talks about how they started, where they started, and everybody has a story about that. Mm-hmm. But we don't always ask the why of it. And I think that's probably the number one question anybody getting into it should ask themselves.
Yes.
If not ask other people. Why did you get into it, Corbie?
I got into it when I was 9. Literally, there was a children's book called The Witch Family. And as I read that, I went, great. There is magic in the world, and I want to go find it. So even at 9, I knew that it wasn't just your 5 senses in the everyday world and what you saw. And I kept following that route. I mean, in 1973, when I was a senior in high school, I was working part-time at Spencer Gifts, and they had the James Bond 007 tarot deck, and I bought it. It's now Tarot of the Witches. Because back then everybody was a hippie. You had your elephant bell-bottoms and your fringe jacket and your deck. But 5 years later, when everyone else had moved on to roller skates and disco balls, I was stuck with a deck. It fascinated me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think I don't know. For me it was, I don't know. I think especially when you're young, there's just something about tarot decks that just can draw you in. And I was drawn into it, I guess I was around 14, 15. My best friend in high school, his grandmother read tarot cards, and she read my cards, and it was just fun hanging out with her, and she taught me to look at it as a little bit differently, I think she called it a book of life. Mm-hmm. And it's like you're always going to have like a friend, like a companion that's going to give you advice that isn't going to be to an agenda. And at that time, I was like, wow, what's an agenda? But, then later I've always thought about that. I've always thought about that idea of having that, it's so hard to get a second opinion that isn't biased, and that's why I was really drawn to it, because I'm like, of course I'm going to need that. I'm going to need that my whole life. That's kind of how I thought about it. What about you, Dex? Why tarot?
Well, in the last couple of decades, tarot keeps popping up in all kinds of TV shows and things like that, especially the witch shows and anything to do with the supernatural, and folks, naturally see that and go, I want to predict the future. I did the same thing, but of course, I when I was young, it was way before all that, and my first time I saw tarot was the same thing. It was James Bond. What was that? Live and Let Die or something like that. Jane Seymour.
Yes.
And she whipped.
Yes.
Yeah, she whips out the lover's card and then the death card. It's like, ooh, I want to do that. And I was interested for a little while, and then it kind of waned away as I got older, because I got more into science, and studying science, and then graduating high school and college, and quantum physics. That's where it was at. But then it started leading into things like sacred geometry, which then led me into numerology, and then I found myself back at the tarot. So when I got back into the tarot, which was my 20s, I had a completely different outlook on it because I was looking at the structure of the deck and the numerology, and I saw the 5 platonic solids, the 5 elements, and I was like, oh, this is a deck based on sacred geometry. It's got all of the structure, and there's more to this than just predicting the future, But speaking of future, I pulled some cards too, and I wanted to mention like the cards I was getting for the generations today, cards like the 5 of Pentacles and the 7 of Wands, where they feel like they're being attacked from every side, and they feel out in the cold. This is the first generation or two that doesn't feel like they have a future.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then I get a card like the Judgment card, which right away, cosmic wake-up call, to the tarot readers out there that, hey, we need to be helping people to make decisions in these times of crisis, and even more importantly, helping people to progress and spiritual growth. And then the other element that I'm getting here is people being able to stand on their own 2 feet and be independent, and a return to love of life. I think that's, when you don't think you're going to have a future and things start happening like COVID, and it doesn't help that we went through the last several decades, from the 80s on, with all of this doom and gloom in media. Think about it. Like, the most popular thing on television for a decade was stuff like Game of Thrones and The Walking Dead. And all the post-apocalyptic movies and things like that in our stories, even before COVID came along, we had all of those movies about, Outbreak, and I'm trying to remember some of the titles, but I thought of Outbreak, and they really feel that way, and it's hard to have a love of life when you don't think that life is going to last that much longer.
Yeah. You sometimes can ask, why am I here now? Did I really sign up for this? But if you are awake at all, and if you're dealing with tarot, you are awake, then it helps to realize, yes, your soul volunteered you down here for this. It was not a mistake, but you need to hold up a candle when it gets very dark for people who can't see the way we can. It's sacred work.
And that's why, Mary, I love our segment we do on the last Saturday that we broadcast each month, Psychic Spin, because you have all this stuff in the news and you have all the current events and things going on, and the talking heads talking about it, but they don't have what we have. They can't pull out the tarot deck and ask questions. And so that's what we do on our Psychic Spin segment. And I think that helps a lot of people.
I think
what do you
so
think,
too.
Mary?
And well, I also like the fact that, we look often at the bigger questions because I think a lot of it is about focus. Where are we putting our focus at? And I think a lot, as tarot readers, the question that Corbie poses is really one that we all should consider. I pulled a few cards on that too, and what I'm taking away from it is, I did it more personally. Like, what can I do? as a tarot reader to help people with the massive shift in the world. And the cards that come up are great. You know, the Ace of Cups. Everybody loves the Ace of Cups opposite the Two of Wands, you know. So being at the crossroads, making choices. I can help people to make choices. That Emperor card, Magician card, makes them realize that they have the tools that they need in order to navigate this, and that they can find that stability that we see in the Emperor card, you know, leading to the Nine of Pentacles. So we get a reward from it. So our clients feel like, okay, you know, I'm not helpless, because the power of choice is something that I think often we take for granted. We don't realize that we have a choice in what we focus on. We don't realize that we have the choice to stay in the present and take a real honest look at what it is that we can control and what we can't control. And we can build our lives with the Emperor card in such a way that it brings stability. In the biggest and most important types of stability to me are of the mind and of the emotions, because it is, you know, it's wacky out there, it's chaotic out there, but at the same time, you know, there are some things within our control and that we can feel empowered about. And so I think that that's what the cards are telling me, is like, that should be, you know, that's the thing that I can help my clients with in dealing with all that stuff, is like, okay, how do they use the tools that they already have, that the Magician says you've got all the tools you need, in order to create that structure and stability in their own lives, so they can feel that Ace of Cups, that love.
Goes back to that love of life I was talking about.
Yeah, and love of self, you know. Love of self is really, it's not selfish, you know, it's important. It's just like that card I pulled about, you know, respecting ourselves. It's you know, we can get all wind up by external circumstances. And really, you know, the question I've been kind of working with over the past month and a half is, how do I stay in the present moment with the current energies, you know, and how do I help others to do that as well?
Yeah, and I use visualizations into the tarot cards. And there's another way of, you know, not just doing a fortune-telling type reading, but, you know, another way you can use the tarot to bring yourself into the now, and also to do visualizations where you go into the card and you get the answers. What do you think of that, Corbie?
I think that's
other ways to use the tarot.
I think it's a necessity. Very often what I will do is, when someone wants to look at a situation, I will also look at the emotional backstory. It's one of the reasons why I'll use multiple decks. I'll use tarot. I'll use any of my oracle decks. One that I really love, especially when you need a compassionate view because the client is scared, there's a deck called Whispers of Lord Ganesha. And, you know, I love Ganesh. He's the Lord of Obstacles in the Hindu pantheon. And when you can show someone, this is what you tend to use that doesn't work for you, but here's how you can shift that. It's not a matter of, you know, this date, this time, this person. It's how can you work with your inner situation, what's in your inner pantry. And that also gets people to do more of the in the present moment. It's not a matter of what you thought was dumb when you were 35, if you're 50 now. What does the 50-year-old pantry hold? And it brings people into where they are now, gives them the power now to make changes, make differences in their lives and the people around them.
Absolutely. I like that inner pantry. And I like the idea of a pantry. You open the door, and it's like, oh, look, I totally forgot I bought those beans. I can use those.
Yes, yes. But you also have to see what emotions you've got that have already gone past the sell-by date, and you can get rid of those.
Exactly, right. Get rid of everything that's expired.
Mm-hmm.
It's just taking up space that you need to free up.
Yes.
So, you know, with everything going on in the world, are you, either one of you, noticing more heavy questions, or are you still getting the normal, you know, is Fred going to go out with me?
I'm getting the normals, but there are some people who, when they ask about their career, it's because they feel that COVID has so upended everything that they'll never get back to work. They're wondering, is what they do going to be trashed? I mean, let's use the example of the New York Thruway. You always had toll takers. Now, all of the toll booths have been stripped, and it's all electronic. You never see anybody. That means you can't do the old pay it forward the way you used to. You can't do a kindness. And so nobody is sure that their job is not going to be taken by robotics or simply gotten rid of because the corporate oligarchs don't feel like paying for it. So you have to help them see what I call transferable skills. What else do you have, and where else can you put it? And it's not only for their jobs, but it's how they work with people. Old emotions from the 80s, the old greed is good, will not work. Who are you going to be now?
Yeah, I heard Siri is starting to do tarot readings, or
Alexa, will Fred go out with
Alexa.
me?
Yeah, they're actually developing. I was going to say they're developing AI to do. I was saying tarot as reading tarot as a joke, but not a joke is the fact that they are gearing the AI to be able to ask to answer questions more in a like a artificial intelligence AI counselor kind of thing they're developing.
I think it could be like a new form of divination, really. It's like ask Alexa, ask your 8-ball, like why not, But I think I'm definitely getting the same questions. What I would say has changed is the level of anxiety, because everything that everyone's always been interested in, like their love life, their career, am I going to, their home life, am I going to move, their finances, all of that has a higher degree of urgency now because of all the uncertainty and anxiety that they're feeling about external circumstances. And I have been getting a lot of questions about when is this going to end? If at first that wasn't happening. I feel like the first year of the pandemic, people weren't really so focused on that. But now it's getting a little bit more. And also, how do I deal with, my neighbor who I think is an insurrectionist? Like I get like this a lot from the South, But then, I have clients in Japan, Canada, other countries too. They're feeling that same level of anxiety as well. So it really is a global. Well, we know it's a global pandemic, but it's a global anxiety that's now, becoming more concretized. And I think that it's really important to try to break that up before it becomes too solidified for a lot of people. Because being in that state physically, just as a healer, I know that being in that state means the longer that happens, the more it affects everything else. It affects your energy field. You could see it in the aura. You can totally feel that heaviness seeping in. And so to me, that's the biggest difference, is that I see it affecting all these things, affecting people on a personal level in ways that aren't, good for their well-being.
Yeah, that's why, for the last actually 20 years, I've been advocating that professional tarot readers have more tools in their tarot tool belt, like quick techniques to help people with anxiety, whether it's emotional freedom technique, EFT, neurolinguistics, NLP, Reiki, hypnosis, what have you, because that's what folks need these days. They need more than the fortune teller. I feel that a lot of people are seeking out, and tarot is having another renaissance where it's booming. We see it all over the place. And I think a lot of people are coming to tarot readers because they're afraid to go to their mental health professional. They don't want to be stigmatized. They don't want to go to a psychotherapist, and they want a less expensive avenue as well. And they want answers quick. They don't want to spend 2 sessions a week for the next 10 years. They want help now, and they're looking for life coaching.
Yeah, that's something that's changed, especially this year, is that so many of my readings really have become coaching sessions. I do it with the cards, but that's one thing that I would say to other readers: if you if you're interested in coaching, whether that's spiritual coaching or life coaching, there's a million types of coaching these days. Whatever form that is, use the cards in that way too, because they're a wonderful tool for coaching. And I think they're really empowering for the client, and they really feel, I don't know how to explain it. It's almost, again, I guess I go back to that idea of that objective opinion that the cards give you. I found that they kind of really, there's more confidence that the clients have in it, because I'm not just as a coach saying like, well, here's my protocol that we follow, and we're just going to do the same with every person. But with the cards being randomized and any card can come up, they do really feel like it's specifically geared towards them, and truly it is. Right.
I've got a couple of things there. One is it's also happening the other direction. Psychotherapists are bringing cards into their sessions. In fact, our host for our Monday Wisdom of the Soul show, Janice Fuchs, is a licensed clinical social worker, and as a psychotherapist, if her clients are open to it, she'll pull out cards. And so it's happening the opposite direction as well. Also, I wanted to mention for the tarot readers out there that you don't have to have a structured protocol to necessarily start out. Let them ask the mundane question. Let them ask if Bill really loves me. Will I get married? When am I going to find that job? And then you steer the conversation after that. Answer the question quickly, pull out some cards, answer the question, and then steer it by saying things like, so how do you feel about that? What's coming up for you now when you think about what we saw in the cards? And then you can start getting into a more structured life coaching type session and pull more cards. What do you think, Corbie?
I think that today people feel so alone because when nothing makes sense, you feel, am I the only one who doesn't get it? And people think tarot readers have all the answers. Oh, my darlings, no, we don't. We can help you look. But that's why I think your idea of what do you think about that is such a good door opener, because it's not just we have all the answers and we're going to throw it at you. That connects us with them in, if you will, a sacred dialogue. It says, I see you as a person. let's talk about this, not simply, all right, I'm throwing 5 cards for you next.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that that's like probably the biggest key ever, because it is. I mean, when I look at, just different attitudes that I see on various different, tarot groups where they have, like our group, we have thousands of members, and a lot of other, tarot groups do as well. And that's one thing I have been, I'm always bothered by when I see it, when there's this sort of attitude of like, well, I'm just going to pull these cards and, that's it, and how dare you question me? I mean, you got to make sure there's no, leave your ego at the door as a reader, no chip on the shoulder here. And if you don't have compassion for what your clients are going through, then you might be in the wrong business. That's how I feel about it. I feel quite strongly.
Yeah, who died
That's a good
in
one.
Zoltan, if you will.
Exactly. Exactly. It's. I have, a couple of clients in particular that just come to mind now is they really let me know all about what other readers have said to them, right? And I'm like, okay, well, that there must be a reason why they said that to you, but let's look at something. I'm not going to bag on another reader, but they've had a hard time, with other readers sometimes, and I think that the biggest part of the job is listening to the question, but listening to what's underlying the question. Listen to their energy when they're asking the question. That's like probably two-thirds of a reading is that the tarot reader is truly listening and allowing this person, holding space for them to be able to examine these questions, which, sometimes, people ask questions that we're like, wow, I would never ask for a reading on that, I think that a lot. We're like, wow, I've never thought of asking the tarot about that. But, it's important to them, and they're coming to you with it often, because there's absolutely nobody else that they can go to with that question. There's nobody else that they can, that will listen. And that's sad, but at least we're lucky to be able to do that.
Right, yeah, going in alignment with what you were just saying there, that's another tip for our tarot readers out there, that rarely is the question that they're bringing to you the heart of the issue. Typically, it's more of a symptom of a deeper issue. And that's how you get at that, by asking the open-ended questions and then sitting back and just listening. Listen for what the real issue is. And then you can work on that.
Yeah.
I always ask my people when they sit down, what is the most important thing you want to walk out of your knowing today? So that they don't think I'm just going to flip cards and start with relationships and here's your money and blah, blah, blah. Because maybe what they really want to talk about is something that isn't typical for the card. And, I admit, if they go, I don't know, I just use my typical Brooklyn on them and go, what's biting your butt? They laugh, but then they realize, this is what's really bothering me right now, and we get started there. They also realize when I say that I'm not coming across as I am the all-knowing and just sit here, shut up, and let me tell you things. Those kind of readings have no interest to me whatsoever. I want to be able to work with my client, not just blarg at them, or they could go ask Alexa. Alexa would not try to sell them a $600 blessed candle. That's a good thing, the way they just do. But one of the reasons that we have to learn what we do as good tarot readers is to know how to work with someone, not just talk at them. And starting out with that dialogue is one of the most important things you can do.
I love that. Absolutely.
Well, and it's also, you know, thinking of it economically, it's also the difference between a tarot reader that does, you know, $40 fortune-telling readings at a psychic fair versus somebody that really spends the time to learn the tools and techniques along with using tarot, and, you know, now they're a $150 an hour reader. There's, you know, a huge difference between those two types of readers. And, you know, some people, that's all they want to do. It's a hobby. It's something they do on the side. They, you know, just want to do $40 readings, you know, and it's like, oh, okay, this is what's going to happen, you know. And then there's the people that take more time that, you know, join the Tarot Guild, take the course, get certified. They take a life coaching course. They take a Reiki course, an EFT course. They put more tools in their tool belt. They make themselves more valuable, and that's a whole other aspect to it.
Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Awesome. Wow, how are we doing on time? We've been going a while here. 47 minutes already. Oh, I got a big truck going by. Sorry, I apologize for the noise. I'm out on the patio enjoying the wonderful weather.
Yeah, well, maybe I should tell everybody what's coming up on the network since we kind of passed the bottom of the hour. Calls. Excellent. Well, this week on the Psychic Talk Radio Network, we've got some great shows coming up here. Our next show is going to be on Monday, September 20th, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. It's the Wisdom of the Soul Show with your host, Janice Fuchs. And then Friday, Spiritual Guidance Radio at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern with angelic channel and healer Catherine Hahn, and she's going to be giving free on-air guidance. And then Dax and I will be back next Saturday, September 25th, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, with the Tarot Today radio show, and it's our Psychic Spin episode, and we'll be doing free tarot readings, and you need to let us know, what do you want to know from the universe? Find us on our Psychic Talk Radio Facebook group and pose your questions there, and we'll pull some cards on them. And then next Sunday, September 26th, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, it's the Magic Universe Show with your host, Sharona Rapsick, and she is going to have a special guest on, spiritual life coach and tarot reader Anita Avalos, and they'll be doing free tarot mini readings and having open lines as well, and that is what's coming up on the Psychic Talk Radio Network. You can find that list easily of all our shows to keep up with the network by going to psychictalk.net/upcoming. Back to you, Dax.
Awesome sauce. And, Sharona's going to be our guest in October. She's going to be talking about her Boho Pixie Tarot.
Yes, I'm excited. It is adorable. The colors are so beautiful. I think everybody's going to be thrilled when they see it.
Yes, I think that wasn't her deck channeled?
Channeling Pixie. So we've got to ask her about that.
Yeah. Oh, there's lots of fantastic stuff coming up. We got our Halloween episode at the end of October. We got stuff in November and December coming up. Oh, my gosh. Lots of great stuff coming up on the network. You're going to be doing Obsidian, scrying and crystal balls.
For
it's Rocktoberfest.
Yes, Rocktober.
There's a rock for that. Oh, my gosh. The first Saturday of each month, Mary does, there's a rock for that. So stay tuned for all that great stuff coming up here. Of course, we have to get Corbie back on again. And
I would love that.
You've got to do a show. Have you thought about, doing your own show? Corbie?
I did that for years on Empower Radio. Tell me where I'm going to fit that in when I'm working 6 days a week and writing a book already, and sure, I'll consider it.
I'll work on figuring out a plan.
That's fine.
We'll figure it out. No, I like when you pop on, though, because you come up with the greatest questions and topics.
Thank you. One of the things that I would love to talk about is what I call tangential tarot. So if you want to look at past lives and who you were, how do you design spreads for that? That's not fortunes, that's not future, but the cards can even go into something like reincarnation and make it really clear.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my.
We did a class on that. I did one for the Tarot Guild, years ago on doing past life spreads using the tarot and oracle cards.
It's time for another one.
I collect oracle cards that are, the theme is past lives. It's really it's fascinating. And there's like all kinds of, there's a limited number of decks that are designed for that, but the methodology that they use is really fascinating.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I love inventing the deep dish spreads. Life is so much more than 3 cards, kids. It really is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
We should do a radio episode talking about that, followed that week by a workshop. We'll do a workshop on it.
I'm in.
Yes.
Let's do it.
That would be a lot of fun. All kinds of exciting things happening at the Tarot Guild.
Yes. So you don't miss out on anything. Remember to join our group. The fastest way to get there is thetarotguild.com/Facebook. That'll take you right over to it. But also join the Facebook website. It's not just a website. It's a social media networking platform just like Facebook. It's thetarotguild.com. Come over and join us. It's free to join the website. Go over to thetarotguild.com. At the top of any page, there's a sign-in, sign-up link. Just click sign up. You can sign up with your Google account, your Twitter account, your LinkedIn, your Facebook, or you can do it the old-fashioned way, put in a password and your email address, and you join for free, and then we send out news updates to your email address. You'll get all that. You'll know when different radio shows are coming up with great topics. You'll know when we're doing free workshops. We're actually working on quite a few here. We've got an oracle deck reading workshop in the works. We've got a introduction to Lenormand as well. Lots of great stuff happening. So, ladies, do you want to take a couple of phone calls before the end of the show here?
Absolutely.
Squeeze in a couple.
Yes, who's
out there? Yeah. Let's see. Who's been waiting the longest? For like an hour and 6 minutes, I think. They've been waiting. Area code 443. Let's see if they're still there or if they're asleep. 443, are you there? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Suzanne.
What's your name?
I'm calling from Maryland.
Suzanne. Hi.
Maryland. What do you want to talk about?
I would love to know what you all see for me as far as like working spiritually, or what my future work might be.
Nice one. Why don't you go first, Corbie? You're our guest.
All right. So, 5 cards for you, my friend. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and 4. Physically, the 8 of Swords. Remember, the 8 of Swords shows the woman who is frightened, she's bound, but the ropes are loose, and she can walk through the sword. So right now I'm telling you, as far as work goes, don't be afraid to go out there and look. And as far as spiritual road, same thing. Yeah, we were talking about how scary the world looks, but you're needed. Mentally, Four of Swords. Two things. Number one, sanctuary. The other thing is, are you stuck? So mentally, look at what has been pinning you down. Emotionally, Ten of Swords. There is something, my darling, you've got to get got rid of, because there is no more blood to bleed. Why are you wasting time on that? Spiritually, the Empress. The Empress is the benevolent dictator of her kingdom. Nobody is going to be able to tell you what to do better than you can. And core for you is the King of Cups. And that, interestingly, tells me the males in your life doesn't have to be a significant other. It can be father, son, boss, friend. Somebody is there to back you and say, I believe in you when you get stuck. Find them and talk to them, because you're going on a new road. I'm literally downloading the way you take an exit off the thruway. You're taking an exit into a new area. Mm-hmm. Enjoy the ride. Don't panic to get back on the road you know.
Okay. Oh, I got goosebumps.
Awesome. And what I want to say real quickly is, let's see here. Suzanne, the way you started off the question, the answer is in the question. And the Queen of Cups. Hun, you are the Queen of Cups. The queens are associated with the Master Healer, Master Teacher number 33, which is my life path.
Wow.
You are the healer. Healing arts, intuitive arts, that is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And I know you're kind of looking right now, the Two of Wands, he's looking out over the battlements. He's holding the world in his hand. You have the world in your hands as far as you could do anything in this sphere, and you just have to spend some time. I know you asked, what should you be doing? I'm not going to tell you what to do. Instead, I'm going to say that spend some time thinking about what you're attracted to as far as intuitive arts and healing arts. Is it Reiki? Is it tarot? Is it numerology? Is it astrology? Is it hypnosis or NLP? Or, there's so many different things you could be doing, but what makes your heart sing? What are you really passionate about? And if you're not sure, write each one of them down on a piece of paper. If you were a tarot person, I would say pull a card for each one. If you're not, that's fine too. You can just sit with each one. So you have Reiki written down on one, and you sit there and you look at it, and what's your gut telling you? You already know the answer. You have anything for Suzanne, Mary?
Just a little bit about, using the tools that you already have to create the transition that you want to occur. Okay, and to focus on that. And this idea of, it's kind of funny. It's like, I feel like this is creating. It has to do with creating. And that could be finding a way for other people to create their path through transitions. So I don't know exactly what kind of work you're going to be doing, but I feel like it's connected to those things.
Okay. Wow.
There you go. Thanks for the call, Suzanne.
Very exciting. Thank you.
That was a great question to start off with.
Yeah.
Not the typical. Yes. I love when people. I think that's part of my strong suit is helping people. Find what they should be doing. And if I had more than 2 minutes on a radio show, we could go a lot deeper into it for sure. But yeah, those are the kind of questions that I like the most, I think. Let's see what else we could squeeze in here. Who's been waiting the longest? We're going to go to area code 917. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Stacy. I'm calling from New York City. How are you?
Great. What's your name, hon?
It's Stacy.
Stacy, what you want to talk about?
I would like to talk about a move. Do you see a move happening for me to another date by the end of this year, or do you think it's going to happen next year?
Okie dokie. Let's take a look at that. Well, it could happen. I'm getting 3 out of 4 saying yes, which means that it's neither really yes or no. It's in that muddled area. It's really what you want to do and push forward and manifest. The Magician card's showing up. Ultimately, Stacey, you have the control here. If I had to put my finger on, if I had to put my finger on, I would say more next year. Although early next year, in the timing card area, I'm getting 6 months, and that would push us into the beginning of next year, rather than it happening before the end of this year. That's what I'm getting. But let's see what the ladies have to say. Corbie, you got something for Stacey?
Yep. I did some month to month, and the Four of Wands is always the happy relocation card for me. And that shows up in November. It's followed by the Six of Wands, victory through teamwork, and the Three of Pentacles, which is long-term. So I think that you're going to start getting the ping of where you need to go in November. And I agree with Dax, by January or February of next year, you should have pinpointed it, and you might even have booked the apartment, bought the house, and getting ready to move. So it is going to be within the year definitely, and hopefully by spring you will be planting things in a new garden.
Sounds excellent. Sounds good. I love it. That's a good time.
Thanks for the call. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, Stacey.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Awesome sauce. Okay, so we're going to go to area code 856. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling?
Hi, how are you? Rosemaria, and right now I'm in New Jersey, back into Jersey. Just came back from a trip, vacationing on, see a few friends, and I had a few confrontations or fights with a close friend. So I was wondering, what is this problem and attitude that you gave me over the month that I was there? If he's going to commit.
Right. What's going on there? What's it about? Right.
And if he's going to communicate, or is he coming here to get me?
Coming there to get you? Did you say?
Yeah. I just left it in bad terms before I left.
Right. Should I go first? I forget where are we? Who's first?
Yeah, you're up next. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, looking at this, one of the cards that comes up that's kind of hard to ignore sometimes when it comes up is the Devil card, right? And that doesn't mean anybody's like a devil or the devil's involved, right? But ego is involved here. Ego's involved. Control things are involved. Also, the other thing about the Devil card is sometimes, it's talking about people that, are struggling to have control over something that they can't get a handle on. So that could be part of what's going on with them that makes them so quick-tempered. And I hate to say it, but okay.
We both are.
So then you already know, that's what I was going to say, right? That it's not just on one end of this, that all of that pressure can definitely create a flashpoint. Okay, and it's just a reminder that we've got to choose our battles. So even when somebody that we're friends with is suddenly, on the attack and everything, we've got to decide what's worth ignoring and what's worth following through with. As far as this changing, I do get the Wheel of Fortune, so that, this is something that could change over time. I don't think it's going to change immediately. And the other thing is you've got to set healthy boundaries. And sometimes that's hard to think about.
I have.
With friends is like what happens when a friend oversteps our boundary, right? And if you have the chance to speak with them in the future when the passion has died down a bit and, you know, everything's not so heightened, that's going to be your best chance for the next phase of this friendship. I don't get the feel that the friendship is over, but I feel like everybody needs to, you know, take a pause. Let's see what Dax and Corbie are getting.
Corbie?
All right. Pulled 5 cards. You, the dude, the relationship as it stands, what you need to know, and best possible outcome. You, the Tower card. Now, I always see the Tower card as the imploding sports stadium. You want to rebuild, you got to clear the ground first. So you would absolutely have to clear the ground of what happened. His card is the 5 of Pentacles, which I see as dancing on quicksand. Whether he's bipolar or emotionally a mess, I don't know, but he is not steady. The relationship card is the Princess of Swords. I want you to watch your smart attitude with him, but you need to, or he needs to, work with someone else who can be objective. He needs help. What you need to know is 2 of Wands. It's going to look like it works, but the last card, well, hello, in my deck too, it's the Devil. Remember, the Devil doesn't mean horns and a tail. It means constantly bedeviled by something, someone, or some situation, or holding yourself back from your highest and best. I think your friend is hip deep in emotional dog poo, and you have to step back. You cannot pull him out. He's got to pull himself out. And you don't have to get it all over you in the meantime. So you step back, wait for him to grow a little bit of brains, and then if you want, you can go back and talk to him. But right now, it is not worth getting involved in. He's got to find his own center.
I'm already involved. I'm put in that situation, and he knows I'm a smart ass.
Not more. But you're not there to fix him. You have to realize you're not there to fix him.
Yep. Well, I hope that helped you out, Rosemaria.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Okay. Corbie, your website, CorbieMitleid.com, correct?
That's right.
And you can find her on the Tarot Guild website.
Yes. Yes, you can. I'll do a quick, every month I do a free reading hour at my Fire Through Spirit page on Facebook, and it happens to be tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern.
Oh, that's
awesome.
so cool. And then for Mary, you can find her at psychictalk.net/Mary. And you can find me on the Tarot Guild website as well as Psychic Talk, psychictalk.net/Dax. Or just type in your browser dax.thetarotguild.com. And I'll pop right up there. You can book sessions with me. Check out my course, Tarot by the Numbers, where you learn tarot and numerology on the Tarot Guild website, thetarotguild.com. And if you're already a professional reader, hey, come join us. Join the guild, and you can get your certification. Go check it out there at thetarotguild.com as well. That brings us to the end of the show. Wow, this show was packed with great stuff.
It went so fast. I'm like, it's over already? Can't we keep talking?
I could talk to Corbie for another hour and a half, but she probably has something to do.
Oh, blush. Oh, blush.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks for the great topic idea. We need more stuff like that. We need to talk, as professional readers.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for giving me a little space to talk about it.
And we'll have you back real soon. We'll have you back real soon. And we're looking forward to that workshop, too. Back on to talk about that and do a workshop.
We'll get
Sounds exciting. Well, goodbye, everybody.
And the Corbie
Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Let's work on the Corbie show. Bye, everybody.
Oh, yeah. Maybe after she's done with her book and everything else she's doing.
Hurry up. Just teasing.
Hurry up.
I think it would be fun.
This morning I told Mary, hurry up and get your Oracle deck done. We need to do an Oracle reading workshop and sell your deck.
I'm like, I have 15 cards left. Help. The laugh.
That's not bad.
I know.
Are you painting
close.
those by hand?
Yes.
My God.
Yes.
I saw some of them too, folks. They're great. I was actually able to scry into the cards, which I've never ever been able to do. And her oracle
that's the whole
deck is
thing.
That's the
I want
that's
everybody
the idea.
to be able to do that. Yes.
Yeah. The really cool
Awesome
thing,
thought.
Corbie, was Mary shared a couple of cards with me, and right away I saw things, and I sent it back to her. She says, "Oh my God! All this time doing all these cards, I was wondering, is anybody else going to see anything when they look into the cards besides me?" And I'm like, there you go. You know, I'm not even good at this, and I scried something. Can't wait. Bye, everybody, and thanks to all our callers and listeners. Of course, we don't have a show without you, and we'll see you next week. Psychic Spin, let us know what you want to know from the universe, the big questions, and send it to Mary or I. We'll get it on air, and we'll pull cards on it. Bye, everybody. Bye, Corbie.
Take
Bye,
care.
Mary.
Bye, Corbie.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Jax.
Bye.
Good night, John Boy.
Good night, Mary Ellen.